What was your very first performance ever in life?
I mean, being born, that's a performance.
Standing ovation, I heard.
Yeah. I think, shoot. I mean, I was in like dance, not pageants, but recitals when I was little bitty, like maybe 3 or 4. So I think I was Raggedy Ann. But outside of dance, a show that I remember was I was actually the narrator of like a little preschool play. And I remember being really upset because they hadn't cast me as a character. They had given me
Mm,
the narrator job to like introduce all the bits that the other kids got to play.
right.
And yeah, but so I got up there to do the bit and to open the show, and I didn't have my little index cards with my lines, and the lead administrator like shuffled up and tried to hand them to me, and I like refused them and was like, no, like I don't need those, like what are you talking about, you're cramping my style here. And yeah, apparently she just kind of shrugged at the audience, but I had all my lines memorized, so I didn't need my cue cards. that's
Nailed
that's
it.
the first one I remember. Yeah.
They probably chose you to be the narrator because you were the only kid who could like speak clearly and enunciate words. So you lost out on your role because of your speaking ability.
Right, if only I had been more of a mumbler.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you could have been one of the leads
Yeah.
and not the narrator. Yes. Um, and do you remember anything about that? What was it about?
I don't, honestly. I have a vague sense that it was like maybe enacting fables, like like Aesop's fables or something
Gotcha.
like that. And I had to say the moral of the story at the end too. I honestly don't remember the what.
Well, it was a while ago.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it was a little while.
How old were you then?
I must have been, I'd say 4 or 5.
Oh yeah. Well, makes sense that you don't remember then.
Yeah.
So flash forward, law school. Hard to believe, It's like you never hear of a lawyer going all the way through law school and then realizing they hate every second of it and then quitting law, right? That's not a story that you hear every fucking day.
I guess not every day. I'm sure there's somebody else out there with a
Right.
incredibly similar
I feel like half of
story.
all lawyers go through it and then realize they hate themselves, their life, the company, the career, the lifestyle, and are like, this was a huge mistake. I feel like it looks cool on TV when you're like, oh,
Mm,
look at me being a lawyer here in court. And then you realize that I imagine a ton of it, or what I've heard is a ton of it is just like paperwork and articling and researching and reading. And it's not all the glitz and glam of the big courtroom speech.
no, no, that is yeah, that's definitely a highlight moment of the year, but lawyers work really hard to stay out of the courtroom,
Interesting.
actually. Yeah, it's always advantageous to the client if you can get things handled without having to go to the judge for something,
Right.
or get to trial. So yeah, if once you're at trial, that's like the last resort.
I
And
think I knew that from watching Better Call Saul. That's
yes,
what I learned.
yeah, good reference. Nice
Yeah.
shout.
Yes, thank you. So you quit the law career. Oh, actually, yeah, fire that up there, Brandon. Monine Daly, also a conservatory ensemble mate of ours, and an audition session director. She was our guest last week on episode 106. She says you were born today. Yay, Erin.
Thank you. Yay.
Today, not today, like
Yes, I can. I
being
was
born
born today
born
many
today.
moons
I
ago.
wasn't born yesterday. I was born today.
Today.
Yeah. So you quit the law career. How did that transition happen? Had you been doing acting, or you'd been thinking about it the whole time, or you were doing it like community acting on the side, or?
Exactly. I actually, when I was in law school, there was a student group called Assault and Flattery, and we were a musical review. And there was like a main show where we put put on a full-length musical, and then there were a cappella singers during the intermission. And I was part of the main show my 3 years in law school. And, it was, we'd take a premise like Romeo and Juliet and then, play it out in the courtroom. And
Right.
it was full of puns. And all the songs it was very Baz Luhrmann. We took all these famous songs, either modern pop songs or some musical standards, and we'd change all the lyrics. Um, and honestly, I gotta tell you, Assault and Flattery fucking saved my life. So, Assault and Flattery is the reason I had a law career at all.
Because that
Um,
was your favorite part of it? Like
yeah,
you were
it kept me energized and engaged.
that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And then when I accepted a job at a law firm in Houston and moved down to Houston, and found out that the Houston Bar Association did a very similar thing, and they called it night court. And
Makes
every
sense.
year in the summer, we had a big musical review fundraiser, and we got to perform at the the Wortham Center. It's like the big theater in town where Broadway regional productions come through. So we got to occupy this massive stage for a week every summer and put on this musical review full of lawyers. Uh,
I love that you were a lawyer because of the after hours theater that you were involved with.
yeah, it's what made it worth doing.
And
Um,
then how did you make the transition? How did that go about? And then when did you get to LA?
let's see. How how did it exactly go down? Well, without getting like too too down, right around 2009, 2010, basically my life just fell apart. Um, I was married at the time. That wasn't working. I was realizing that my job wasn't working for me, for my soul satisfaction. And my law firm, uh, Real Talk, just said, Erin, like, we noticed that you're not really putting in the effort anymore.
You're
Would you like,
phoning it in.
yeah. So what's
You're
going
showing
on?
up for all the theater rehearsals, but you keep skipping court.
So we gracefully parted ways. I took a job for about another year in a smaller firm, that theoretically was going to require fewer hours, and I simultaneously started getting into. I sought out film acting classes, and yeah, I had auditioned for a an agent in Houston, and I the agent brought me on board, and they were like, "Look, you're fab, but you're very theater.
Right.
So you need to like check this studio out. Let's get you honed in on some on-camera skills." And then from there, once I started getting in classes, I just networking with my fellow students, branched out, met this massive film community in Houston, believe it or not. And yeah, just kind of integrated myself in that world until I reached a point where I said, okay, this is great. What's next? Bigger market. So that precipitated Los Angeles.